I now invite, first of all, the Minister to make some comments on the topics of creating low-pollution jobs and industries of the future. Please join me in welcoming.
Thank you very much to John, and thank you for being here and for inviting me here to speak. This is an odd, it's like I'm talking to the door. There are a lot of comments you could make. Is that better? Thank you. Now I can look at you. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here to talk about the employment, the economic opportunities of moving to a lower carbon future. I think one of the challenges in the debate we're currently in relation to climate change is to make sure we look not only to risk but also to opportunity. We know that climate change demands a response because it is such a significant threat, such a significant risk, not only to our environment but to our economy now and into the future. But we also know that there are opportunities in moving to a lower carbon economy. So I was thinking, well, what in my 5 minutes of the many things I could say should I focus on? I suppose the first is to remind us, and I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir generally here, that in the debate that we will see in the next, I think, 12 days that we have seen in the months to date from various sectors of industry expressing their views about what will happen if we put a price on carbon. I think it is important that we remember a couple of things. The first is that the Treasury modelling that was done by the government, which is the largest modelling exercise in the nation's history, it's important to remember that, showed, even on very conservative estimates, continued jobs growth out to 2020, a net increase of, I think, 1.7 million jobs, with the introduction of the renewable energy target and the introduction of the carbon pollution reduction scheme. The second point I'd make is that I have been trying to speak loud and long about what we are engaged in here, because this is not just an environmental policy. Responding to climate change is at its heart an economic change. As all of you know, Nicholas Stern described it as the greatest market failure the world has ever seen. What we're doing is putting a price on carbon and trying to trap the costs of climate change into the transactions that we make, both investment and consumption. And what does this do? This drives a change in our economy. This drives a change in the structure of our economy. It changes the way we do business. And we're very mindful as a government that this is not a reform for 1 or 2 years. This is a fundamental reform that is about changing the way Australia does business in the years and decades to come. And we have no doubt that it is the right thing to do. One of the reasons we have no doubt is this, that we do know the world will eventually move to a global carbon constraint. It may not do it as quickly as all of us want. It may do it in a more patchy way than we want. That's yet to be determined. But it will continue to move that way. That is inevitable. And as one of the most highly carbon-intensive economies in the world, we have to be able to compete in that world. And competing in that world means developing the technologies, the businesses, the know-how, the services, the goods, the products that do well in a world where there is a global carbon constraint. It's very simple economics. And that's why the government has brought this policy area forward as such a central policy area to government. And it hasn't been an easy path to date, and I'm sure it won't be any easier. We vote in 12 days in the Senate, and we do actually have the opportunity to start this economic transformation. The question will be whether the Senate will rise to that responsibility or not. I'm often asked about green jobs, and I think there are 2 points we should make. The first is the one that the Deputy Prime Minister made yesterday when she talked about, if we think back to when we first saw computers, whether anyone then could have foreseen the sort of jobs that would have arisen from the ICT revolution, but not just the new jobs, the way in which that revolution would affect all of our jobs. We don't know every job, every type of economic opportunity that will be created as we move to a lower carbon future, but what we know is that we will see a range of occupations, of professions that we probably can't imagine now. The other thing we know also is that existing jobs will change, and this is something that was really brought home to me when I went to the building site earlier this week, and I spoke to the CEO of Bovis Lend-Lease, the company designing and constructing this highly energy efficient, water efficient building. And I asked him, you know, what is it like? You know, why have you done this, and you know, how has it changed the way you work? And he made a couple of really important points. The first is that it had changed almost every job they had. Almost every job they had, whether in design or construction. So it wasn't that people weren't carpenters or bricklayers or cabinet makers or et cetera, but they were all required to do additional training to construct and design and construct a building to this level of sustainability. The other point he made was that they didn't have any buildings on their books that didn't meet these standards, well ahead of what's mandated. And I asked him why, and he said because that's what people will want. So there are already companies, businesses in Australia who understand the opportunities that a lower carbon economy and this transformation will generate. Our challenge, I think, as a nation is to bring those who don't understand along with us to demonstrate that there is a way forward, a way where we can continue to grow our economy, but also respond to climate change. That will require a whole range of government policies. We can talk more about them. The fundamental one is putting a price on carbon, but it will require more than that. It will also require a change to the way many of us think, and certainly the way many businesses do their business. I'm very optimistic about the future. I think if you look at Australia's recent history, post-war, I mean, we have demonstrated as a nation that we are capable of enormous change, of enormous innovation, of revolutionising our economy, and we've done it on more than one occasion. And we are absolutely capable of doing it now if we can look, as I said, to hope and to opportunity, and not only to fear and to threats. Thank you.